Carl Russell is a do-it-yourself kind of guy.
I'm kind of independently minded.
From sharpening saw blades to shoeing horses, there isn't much Russell doesn't do on his farm in Randolph, including raising and slaughtering his own cattle.
Most of the things that are of value to me in my life, I find some way to be involved in them. And so to me, it was a natural step to actually raise as much of my own food as I could. I've always wanted to have livestock in my small farming enterprise since I was a child. Being interested in taking responsibility for what I needed to have to eat, it was a natural conclusion for me that I figure out how to slaughter them myself on my farm.
Russell's resolve to slaughter his animals himself comes from a deeply held respect and responsibility for the life of the animals he raises.
It's a strong belief of mine that the focus is not on humane death, it's on humane life. That makes me take responsibility for my involvement in the life of that animal. And for me, that means the life of that animal all the way through till where it gets to my plate. There is so much emotion that's charged around the act of killing the animal that it just seems far too important for me to let somebody else do that. It just seems to me that that is the ultimate the ultimate point in my relationship with those animals, is that I'm actually following through on everything else that I've done with that animal up till then.
Russell began slaughtering his own cattle in the mid-'80s. True to his nature, he did everything himself.
When I first started cutting meat, doing the meat, I did the whole process myself. And I found that cutting up a couple of pigs or an entire beef by myself on the back porch with a handsaw was not a very effective way to follow that respectful process through to my plate. So the speed at which the butcher can process my meat is a big value to me.
On-farm slaughter is considered custom processing, which means that the meat is not inspected by the state or federal authorities. Custom processed meat is only for personal consumption and cannot be sold to the public.
In here I've got 2 pigs worth of pork and half of a beef. Yeah, we have meat pretty much every meal, and then of course the sausages and bacons and stuff for other meals and so forth. We do this pretty much every year. We have we put a beef in the freezer every year and a half.
There are 23 custom processors in Vermont.
I understand that you're looking for information.
Randy Quinville oversees the Agency of Vermont Agriculture, Food and Markets Meat Inspection Service.
There are several ways that people can have their animals slaughtered custom. There are itinerant slaughterers that will travel to your farm and slaughter the animal for you. Generally, they don't do any cutting. There are also 23 custom processing establishments throughout the state of Vermont which get monthly inspections for sanitation and record keeping, but don't have a daily inspector during operations.
Because there is no inspection during custom processing, there is an increased concern regarding food safety.
As a consumer, you're using your own judgment as to whether that animal is fine or not. And there definitely has been cases where an animal looks perfectly fine coming into the slaughterhouse, but it doesn't make it through the inspection process and it's not fit for human consumption. So it is a gamble that unless you know what you're looking for, not to cause an alarm, but you do need to know what you're looking for, and if it's stuff that you raise yourself and it's for yourself, then that's fine.
Russell, the do-it-yourselfer, has a different perspective.
This is not an answer that's going to satisfy a lot of people. This is a personal belief on my part that there's far too much focus on things that could go wrong. I'm doing everything I can to maintain the health of my animals, and I'm doing as much as I can to make sure that I'm not blatantly creating a filthy environment for the meat that I raise. And beyond that, I think the rest of it is a normal level of risk.
On-farm slaughter may not be for everyone. For Carl Russell, it's a personal choice that connects him to his food and to his community.
I've had food on my plate for over 20 years that most of which had only traveled 300 feet. It's a great value to me that the food on my plate was raised by me, because it demonstrates how much I'm involved in my own life. The reason why I raise my own animals is because food is not just calories. You know, to me it's my link to my environment. It's my link to my community, and it's a connection, a relationship. It makes it real. It makes it a connection. It's a real relationship.
For Russell, farming is a way of life, a reminder of where food comes from and what it takes to bring that food from the pasture to the plate. In Randolph, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.